Today we're looking at Document Manager and VinPack Connect. There have been some recent additions made in this area that we're going to cover today, but first we'll start with an overview on what Document Manager is and means. The VinPack Connect Document Manager add-on allows electronic documents and files to be displayed in either the client, account, security statement, or security statement item forms. There is also included functionality for user-based files displayed in Task Manager, as we covered in our Task Manager 2 session. Possible uses include storing scanned images of driver's licenses, payslips and bank statements on the client files, signed contracts and direct debit forms on the account files, and even photographs of collateral items in the security statement files. Users could store anything from handy documents they may need regularly and how-to guides. Any outward-bound documents generated from within VinPack Connect can also have an electronic copy of them saved in the relevant file for easy retrieval and regeneration. Files can be accessed by a simple click of the mouse, either previewing the file or opening the document itself. The Document Manager creates a folder and subfolders using a set structure in the File Explorer location set and global settings under Documents. Each of the subfolders created correspond to a form in VinPack Connect with a Files page on it. Each time a document is created or a file saved via the Files page on an account, client, etc., if a folder for that account or client doesn't yet exist, one is created at that point specifically for that account, client, application, security statement, item, or user to separate the files and display only what is relevant to that record. It is important to note that upcoming enhancements we're looking at today and other functionality will only work with the VinPower Connect folder structure and not the old VinPower 5 folder structure, which was made obsolete as at version 4. To get you ready for upgrading, there is a special script that we can supply that will convert the folder structure for you prior to upgrade, which you can email application support for at any time. So accounts, we'll start off by looking at an account. You can see here that we have some files created and saved automatically via VinPower Connect and its processes, such as producing loan statements. If we have a quick look at our File Explorer, we can see the structure we covered before in action, starting with our Documents folder, then going to Accounts, and then L10008. And we can see the same files shown in VinPower Connect. You'll notice none of these have a file category yet. However, you can bulk shift them into a category by holding down the Shift key and selecting all documents, like so. For example, you may want to shift all of the statements into a category. So to do that, you can click this button here, which says Move Selected Files to another category. You can either free type in this box here to create a new category, or you can select one that has already been used before. This is covered by an information list, which we will show you a little bit later. If we click OK from there, you can see all of the statements now have a category of statements. You can click this button here to show and hide the categories pane as well to filter the documents down. So if I now click on statements, that's all I'm going to see. If we have a look again at our File Explorer folder, we can now see all of these statements are in their own subfolder. So VinPower Connect has automatically created that new folder for us. And if we check back in our L10008 folder, we can see here now the only other three, which are not categorized, and the statements folder. This now means that a user does not need to navigate outside VinPower Connect to create or change subfolders. If we look at this image here, of an upcoming knowledge base article, we can see the functionality will be available to update your document scripts to set a file category automatically once generated. This means you'll be able to, for example, automatically categorize documents as they're produced, which for things like statements and contracts is great. The file category can be defined on the following page in the admin documents form, and the link to the knowledge base article will be available in the link in the description for the video. It is important to note that currently you will need your document script to be able to set that file category, just to reiterate that point. Moving on to applications. Again, this functionality is much the same, but this stores the files against the specific application. Also available is the drag and drop functionality, which means that a client can drag and drop documentation into where they need it to be, like so. Making it nice and easy. Looking at clients, the same, but there are some additional fun features available here, such as if you open a supplementary report from CreditSense, a copy will be automatically stored in the files page for easy future reference, like this example here. If configured on the cost centre, the same will occur for a Centrix biometric inquiry in the sense that a copy of the ID and video recorded will automatically be saved to the files as well. Again, we have the ability to categorise and even group by dragging a column header up to the top, or you can group by category, sorry, going like that, and it will organise it in that way for you. We also have the files page available on security statements and security statement items. So you can have files at the statement level or the item level, depending on what is required. You may have one statement with multiple items and may not want to group the files together at the security statement level. Again, you can drag and drop files and name and categorize accordingly. So if we have a quick look at the item itself here, open this up, have a look at the files page. We can see there's one already in here, but if we wanted to drag and drop another one in there, we could as well. Say a picture of the security or something like that. Again, these buttons along here allow you to either rename the file, or if you highlight it, move it to a category, which there's none in here for now, but you can type whatever you like. And again, you've got this little window option over here so that you can narrow it down and filter to weed out the files you're not wanting to look at just now, or you can choose not to. If you click this little save button here, it will save the grid layout and options as your defaults. You can also turn on and off the preview function. Personally, I find this quite helpful to be able to find quickly what I'm looking for. User files, it's a place users can store files at their own user level for many different purposes. One example could be storing how-to documents or images. And once again, you can drag and drop and categorize files as you wish. So I've got my little how-to section here with a couple of GIF files showing some procedures. In terms of configuration, under Global Settings, you can configure your default folder locations, which we touched on earlier, under the Documents and Templates option. So that's just here. And from there, Document Manager will do the rest in terms of the subfolders for the structure, as we discussed earlier. Further down, Document Manager has its own section, and on the general page, we have some further Document Manager specific settings. So you can choose whether to, where relevant, automatically copy files to the Document Manager folder, and if unticked, the subsequent setting becomes available to choose whether or not to prompt to copy files to the Document Manager folder where relevant or not. Or you may choose to have them both unticked depending on your requirements. There is also the option to allow any text to be entered into a log's document file name, and the option to allow users to select multiple document files on a new log. Other options include whether or not to delete the file when deleting records, and to prompt a user to delete a document file when deleting a log. Leaving this option unchecked means the file will not be deleted. There is also user-defined options that can be used in conjunction with things like parameter sets and scripting. And finally, in global settings, there are some new options under the credit bureau settings that can have an impact on this area, which are settings to automatically download documents, images, and videos relating to credit inquiry options, typically for your ID verification products. There are also relevant settings on the cost center at the individual service level, which is just something to keep in mind when configuring ID type services. There's also some new information lists for the following options that allow you to make some standard category files that can be selected. So we have Document Manager account categories, account application categories, client categories, security item categories, security statement categories, and user categories. These operate as normal information lists do, so you can edit this and add in your available categories as you wish. You would have seen statements and correspondence sent appear when we were having a look at the account. There's also the standard limit to list and mandatory options that you can configure. This can potentially help with keeping some consistency across the wider Document Manager folder structure. So we've come to the end of our session for today, and as always, if there's any additional information you seek, don't hesitate to contact the application support team for user interface queries or code support in relation to code-specific questions, as there can be many scripting events available throughout the many processes involved with documents that can be utilised for custom requirements.